Hello everyone. This video briefly explains on what is pseudocode, why we have to use pseudocode, its advantages, rules for writing pseudocodes, and finally we'll end up with few examples. What is pseudocode? Pseudocode is an artificial and informal language of a computer program or algorithm. Pseudocode is a text-based detailed design tool. It is a similar version of a programming code which is written in English. The pseudocode will be written before implementing any logic in specific programming language. The main purpose of the pseudocode is to enhance human understandability of a solution. It shows the outline of a program that can easily be converted into any other programming language. Why pseudocode, or what is the purpose of pseudocode? It makes easy for the designers to mainly focus on the logic of an algorithm without having to worry about the syntax of the programming language. Since it has no specific syntax, it is easy to read and write. So any programmers working in different programming language can comfortably communicate their ideas and concepts with each other. Pseudocode enables us to grab simple set of instructions that are written in plain English and eventually translate it to a program that can be executed. It is used for creating an outline or rough draft of a program. Let's see few advantages of developing pseudocode. Pseudocode is understood by the programmers of all types. It doesn't matter what language are they dealing with. Pseudocode written can be converted to any programming language, maybe C, C++, Java, Python, to any other languages. It helps save time during actual programming. That is because all the conceptual errors and the wrong program workflow are rectified during developing the pseudocode stage itself, which is beneficial for development as it is less costly than catching them later. It enables the programmer to concentrate more onto the algorithm part of the code development than concentrating towards the catching errors or some troubleshooting problems. Before writing pseudocode, it's very important to know its rules. Let's see to it. Rule number 1. Pseudocode must be written one statement per line. You can't exceed more than that, whereas when you write the algorithm, you can write more than one statement. Rule number 2. Capitalize key commands. Key commands or keywords are nothing but it's a reserved name that has its own meaning. Say for an example, I'm checking whether the given number is greater than 15. So I will be writing if number is greater than 15 then. So here if and then are the keywords. Similarly, there are a lot of keywords are present. Let's see few of them. Start. This is used during start of the pseudocode. Input. Input keyword is used when you want to receive any input from the user through an input device. Similarly, you can use read or a get when you are trying to read any data from the data file. If you want to print output, you can use print, display or a show. Say if you want to perform any computation or a calculation, you can use compute, calculate or determine. You can see all the keywords are being given in capital letter. And say if you want to initialize some value, you can use set or init. Init represents initialize. Say if you want to increment any value or decrement. Increment in sense you are increasing the value by 1 or by any other number. Similarly, if you want to decrement any value, you can use the keywords increment, decrement. Rule number 3. Use indentation. Indentation refers to the space given at the beginning of a code line. Indentation is very important in Python. Python uses indentation to indicate a block of code. Generally, in paragraph indentation, paragraph should be indented 5 space or half inch. When you go with Python, so Python uses 4 spaces as indentation by default. Rule number 4. End the control structures used. Say if you are using any conditional statements or control structures, you have to end it. you can see if you are using if statement, you have to use it end if. Similarly, if you are looping using while, you have to use end while to end it. And finally, be specific and keep it simple. Now here we are going to develop pseudocode for two different examples. First example, check voting eligibility of person. Initially I have to input the age. So input is a keyword which I have capitalized. After that I have to check whether the age is greater than or equal to 18, which is a condition for voting. So I am going to check if age greater than or equal to 18. If the condition is true and satisfies, I am just going to print. So you can use it print or display or output, you can use it. So print, you are eligible to vote, else, which means if the condition gets failed, then I am going to print you are not eligible to vote. Finally, you have to end if. You have to notice two things here. One, all the keywords are capitalized. Number two, you can see the block of codes are indented. Similarly, let's develop a pseudocode to print odd numbers from 0 to 9. The logic behind here is we have to take each number from 0 till 9 and individually check whether that particular number is odd or not. If odd, I have to print that number. Let's start developing. We have to start from 0. So I am initializing I, a variable, to 0. You can use init keyword or set. Here I am using set I to 0. So from there I have to start checking it. So I am using for each I from 0 to 9. Here I takes value from 0 till 9. Followed it, block of code has been written within for. You can see if is being indented. So I am writing the code if I is odd. Initially I will be 0. So it will be checking 0 is odd or not. It's not. So it doesn't get entered into the if block. Next I will take 1 and it will check whether 1 is odd. Yes, the condition over there, the statement gets true. So it will come into the if block. You can see again the print is indented. So print I is being given within if block. Similarly, it keep on incremented till 9. So once value has been ended till 9, it gets out of the for loop. You can see end for has been given at the end. Finally, if you implement this pseudocode in any programming language, we will be getting the results 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. Say if you want to convert the pseudocode into Python, you can see over here the equivalent Python code for the given pseudocode. Here you can notice the pseudocode has been translated according to the syntax of Python. Here I am not going to discuss the syntax and the control structure of Python. That will be covered in the chapter 2. Similarly, if you want to convert the given pseudocode into C code, you can see it. I have converted it where it's been translated according to the syntax of C programming. Similarly, if you want to convert into C++, you can do the same. Hope this session would have helped you to understand what is pseudocode, its advantages, rules, and how to develop a pseudocode.